What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Morgan Thomas Show. And we are here in live at the Roar in the office, getting ready for the show tonight. Hope you all are having a good day so far, having a good week so far. Obviously, it should be a better week for you because if you're a Clemson fan, you know that the Tigers have walked away with a ranked win against Notre Dame, which is something that I didn't predict. I didn't think was going to happen. I was shocked. I was at the game, but relieved because the Tigers were able to figure out something, that worked for them, and we'll discuss it tonight. I have a lot of topics here on my phone. Let me get in and say hello. We got about 7 minutes before we go live. John gets in. Hello, John. Dylan gets in over on Facebook. Hello, Dylan. Kevron, as always, he says, good morning. Well, it's night. It's good night, Kevron. It's not the morning. Don't wish it the morning on me yet. Tiggs gets in and says, let's go Tigers. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So we had a ton of people in so far. I know more will continue to come in. Make sure you hit the like button, share it with someone if you can, and then get in the chat and be a part of the conversation tonight. I'm curious to get your thoughts, your questions, and what do you think, the rest of the season holds up. I've got thoughts about the new blocking scheme, thoughts about the offensive line, thoughts about performance against Notre Dame. We've got our token Gamecock fans going to come on. We're going to talk about the Gamecocks and Vanderbilt, some of the big games of the weekend, Clemson, Georgia Tech coming up, of course, military appreciation, the team, and what the style that they played this weekend, and then we'll talk about the biggest thing I think is the running back situation. Kevron says, will Dabo get 167? Georgia Tech. Somebody gets in and says, got Georgia Tech game. Is it a trap game? Will they make a bowl game? So get in. Did anything change offensively? Get in. Get your questions in now. Alan just texted me. I got to go get him. And so let's go. We'll walk through the studio. If you're not familiar, this is every Wednesday night or Tuesday night. I come in here and I do the studio. And Walt is just finishing up his show. So we'll get Big Al in here. There he is.
Greetings.
Big Al with me tonight. I think we didn't have a show last week because of Halloween.
That's right.
So we'll have to talk about that. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we should play like a see if the all right, Al.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Let's go around here.
These aren't regulation.
Yeah. All right, come on. These are definitely not regulation. All right, you got 4?
I suppose.
All right. Orange goes first. Purple goes first because military appreciation. Ooh, not good. Not good.
Practicing on these.
Not good. Ooh, I like the flatness. I'm gonna have to do that. Ooh,
Not how the pros do it.
a little long. Now you're showing me up here.
All you gotta do is make one. Nothing to do. There you go.
Mine bounces. Okay, this is really bad. 3-0 here. Oh, nope, that was a shame. That was a little bit left.
And hold it out for the win.
6-0.
Brutal.
Just schooled me.
Brutal.
We ought to do this every week. All right, week 1, Alan. Alan's up.
Well, you know, dominating.
Alan is up.
I think it's about time to go in there.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. All right. We will. This is the green room,
Yes.
behind the scenes,
Yes.
the Morgan Thomas Show green room.
Loving it.
Got a ton to talk about. We got the chat in here already asking about the Georgia Tech game, asking about bowl game options,
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on the game, of course.
Oh yeah.
We'll go through that. Got some games of the week we want to talk about. So,
Freshman.
yeah. I actually hadn't really looked at it much, but Dabo mentioned freshmen are going to play.
Yep.
So
They get a
he
chance.
clarified it too that it only their games only count the regular season. So the postseason that doesn't count. They can play that game.
Okay.
And so most of the guys have already played one game,
Mm-hmm.
but now that there's 3 left, and that's their 4.
Do you have the list of the players that have played one game?
No, but I mean we could pull it up.
Okay.
We could get it during the show. I don't have it right now, but
Gotcha.
when we get on the computer, I could pull it up during one of the breaks or something. Did you go to the game?
Yes,
Oh,
I
right.
did.
Oh man,
The basketball too. We talked about the basketball.
did you go to the basketball?
Not go to basketball. Of course, it's gymnastics night on Mondays. And that's just,
Gymnastics night. Tomorrow night is the championship game for softball for me.
okay.
So big deal there.
All right. So you've been running through the playoffs.
The only team that the first round they forfeited.
Solid.
We had already beat them, but they forfeited because they didn't have enough players apparently. Which, whatever. All my players were going to show up. So get this. I'll mention it on the radio.
About time to mention it on the radio.
Yeah, it's 7:00. All right, Al. What I'm going to do to try tonight is this camera, so that I don't have to like angle this. I can just plug it in.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes.
What do you need me to grab?
Just the tripod.
The tripod.
We'll see how it goes. Behind the scenes. Again, we are here in the Upcountry Fiber Studios, which actually I should wait to say that because I'm not at the sticker yet. We're in the Roar Studios where every day is game day. I'm going to get it right eventually. Can't believe 6-0, man. You absolutely smoked me in cornhole.
Not good.
I'm about to get I'm not a pitcher on my team. Just so you know. What I do? Left field.
Left field?
Yeah. I definitely did play left field. That's the only. I mean, you always played shortstop. Yeah. Asher was first base.
He wasn't with the Knights, though.
I didn't play on the Knights.
He played late in our careers.
I played on the D-backs.
I didn't realize he
I was a better coach, Al. Hey, Ramona. She said, "Oh, hey."
Just going back there.
Put it up here, yeah. Let's see how quickly we can do this.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. What you need? Anything? Probably need me to put that on.
Yeah, it's just like try to position it. Don't try to hang it on there. Yeah.
You mean to add a minute? We're gonna do that anyway.
More information, go to phoenixcenter.org. Your local company, Carolina Top Dressing, has been working hard all year
There you
to
go.
improve the quality across the upstate. We understand the importance of continuing care for your lawn throughout winter. A vital service where now always the cleanup of pesky leaves. Do not commit a turnover by missing the importance of removing weeds off a newly seeded lawn this winter. It could cost you big time. We are going all in on leaves, so our customers can be all in on free. Visit us now at carolinatopdressing.com for your free quote. Go Tigers!
You got a minute still.
Trying to find a
1,
needle in a haystack.
2,
Sure,
3,
you can
4.
post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes
It worked.
which is why
For a second.
try
Did it?
ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/.
About time to roll.
Oh well. Well, we got it on this camera, so
We're good.
we'll be good. All right.
All right. You good?
As good as he's going to get.
That's what she
Okay.
says.
The smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. This is my house.
I built this. This is my house. This will always be my house. Now let's continue. Cause I love me some me. I love me some me. To be the man, you gotta beat the man. We're gonna win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
And now, the Morgan Thomas Show.
Welcome in another Tuesday night. It's the night shift. It's the Morgan Thomas Show with your host, Morgan Thomas. We're going to talk all things Clemson football and throw in some college football in there as well, and maybe even some college basketball because that is now underway. I'm excited to be back in the studio. As you know, we were not in the studio last week because of Halloween. Hope everyone had a safe Halloween, got all that candy that they dreamed of. More and more Reese's for me, that's for sure. Although, haven't really told Annabeth how many Reese's I've stolen from her yet. I have. She counted them, but she hasn't checked where it's at right now. I'm kind of worried that if she checks, it's going to be much lower than she was expecting. She's probably had about 3. I've probably had about 10 myself. I mean, I can't stop myself. Can you really expect me to stop myself from Reese's? I mean, come on now. They are so good. But, good times. I dressed up as the Young Bucks, one of the Young Bucks. I could have been Matt or Nick Jackson, either one of them.
Should I know what you're talking about?
You don't know anything about the Young Bucks?
I do not.
They are former tag team champions of AEW.
Should have known.
I was a wrestler. I had a leather jacket with tassels, almost like a Macho Man. Most people who don't know who I am said I was Macho Man.
You didn't wear the Speedo?
I did have tights with tassels as well.
Okay. All
So,
right.
you could see my butt.
Very scary Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been working out. I've been doing squats.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely look more like a wrestler than I did before. I look more like a wrestler. So, but I had a good time. Annabeth had a good time. We got some candy and enjoyed it. But the better part of the week was really that Clemson football game, Big Al.
Yeah, no doubt. It's so much better to be in here after
a win, and
Isn't it?
It really is. I mean, I want Coach to know that I am all in all the freaking time.
Oh yeah,
You know, So, but it is great to be here after the Notre Dame game. It was a huge win for Clemson. It was great to be there. Awesome crowd. It looked like it was going to be a little rough early, but man, it really filled in, and it was very loud, very raucous, and it was good for Clemson to have the performance they did. I know there are a lot of recruits who are there too.
Yeah, I think it was a surprising game. Going into the weekend, I said that Clemson would lose the game 24-10. I was not very confident with Clemson's offense. I was not very confident that Clemson's defense could hold them.
Mm-hmm.
Then the injury came with the tight end, Mitchell Evans, for Notre Dame. And I felt, okay, well, maybe it's a little bit better. Maybe it'll be 14-17s, something like that. But Notre Dame would still squeak away with the win.
Right.
And then when Clemson's injury report came out, I was like, well, it's all over. It is all over. I honestly had no faith. No faith. I mean, I'm trying to be upfront here.
Sure.
I did not think that Clemson was going to win that game, especially after not having key players and then finding out their offensive line was injured. Oh, no. Their running back was not going to be there. Will Shipley. Oh, no. Antonio Williams, again, not going to be there. It did not look good. Tyler Brown, maybe not at the time. Maybe not, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then some of the defensive players not going to be dressed out too. I was not feeling it. Now, I was happy to be there because it's always a great time to be in Death Valley on a Saturday watching your favorite team play. Had a great tailgate. Got to be a part of some fans out there that really, Al, right next to the gate. We went over there maybe, I don't know, a couple of hours beforehand. The guy that I went with, Dan, good friend of mine, he had an IPTE event that he had to go to. And so we had to get there at like 8 o'clock.
Big timers.
That's pretty early in the morning. It was cold. You couldn't did you notice you couldn't really see? It was
Fog
so foggy.
was killer. Yeah.
So we stopped by the Dale Johnson family tailgate. Look at this, Al. I'm showing him the picture, but look how sweet that is, man.
Oh yeah.
They got, you know it's a legit tailgate when you have your own banner.
No doubt.
And it's like a really nice banner, not like, like something I would put together. But great food, great family. Link and Janice Sargent out there, they treated us great and had some good food. And then, so I was full. So I'm sorry, concession stands. I didn't need any concessions because I was full. And then I went into the stadium, and it's always something. Isn't there always something about seeing a team like Notre Dame? My dad actually saw Joe Montana and Notre Dame many, many moons ago. And so it was cool to see a historic team like that. I didn't get to see the 2015 game. Don't shake your head. Stop it.
Shameful.
Stop it. I didn't see the 2015 game, so I missed out on that. But I will say, seeing Notre Dame it's just a fun thing to do. If you're a college football fan, seeing these historic teams is really fun.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, they had the shiny helmets, no doubt. They went with the all white uniforms, which there was a lively conversation about in our neck of the woods, in the stands. We had some rather inebriated Irish fans sitting right behind us, and it was awful, to be honest with you. Except for not after the game started, it was pretty awesome because they didn't have a whole lot to say. But yeah, in the beginning,
that sounds like Alabama to me.
Yeah. No, but it was a good time for sure.
When I went to the national championship game, that was so great to see the Alabama fans just giving me everything they could. And then when Deshaun Watson went down in 2 minutes and won the game, it was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
I guess we'll leave now. And they left, and they did not say anything. It was like all of a sudden you're very talkative when Jalen Hurts scored the touchdown, but now all of a sudden you just want to go home. You just want to go home and be left alone.
Yep.
I think I hugged more strangers than I ever have in my life after that national championship game.
Which is a fair point. And
not
honestly,
really strangers, though, because they had Clemson gear on. So really, we're all family.
You're all family. And was there any particular person that made sure you went to that game? I'm just curious.
I think my friend Mark was like making sure that I went to that game.
Mark, okay. Interesting.
Is that not how it went?
I don't think that's how it went down. As a matter of fact, I recall you refusing a ticket from me.
See, here's the thing, Al. Here's the thing. I got to explain this to the Adams & Co. Roofing text line. You can get in on the Morgan Thomas Show. It's not just a show about me because it has my name. You can get in as well. 864-654-7627. You can call in and you can text in. So, again, it is a part of your show as well. And you can check us out over on YouTube, the Morgan Thomas Show, and watch behind the scenes as well. Get in the chat there if you want to do that. So, Al, the thing is, Al, this is why I didn't take your ticket at Tampa.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but it wasn't because I didn't want to sit with you.
Mm.
It's because you were like 5 rows from the bottom.
I was.
I didn't want to sit that close. I wanted to get a ticket I felt like that was too close. You wouldn't see the game as you would want to see it. I wanted to sit up higher. Now, it was about $600, was it not?
Yeah. Do I need to correct the record for everyone? Because I was
What?
told you didn't have enough money.
Well, no, I mean, I obviously had enough money.
Oh, no.
I eventually went.
Oh, I know you did. And you paid like 4 times what you would have paid with me for much worse tickets.
I ended up paying $1,500 cash for a seat in the nosebleeds.
$1,500. That's
And
less
I
than
had
thought
an
you got it for.
opportunity to get $600, 5 rows up, but that wasn't good enough for old Morg. I don't know if I always make the best decisions, Al.
It's not always your strong suit.
And I waited to the last minute to get a plane ticket. Okay. Because I thought, oh, you know what? Wait to the last minute. They'll be cheaper. Yeah, right. Okay. So instead of getting a ticket straight in to Phoenix, they were all sold out. There was no tickets to go straight into Phoenix. So I get to Charlotte and I had to buy a ticket from Charlotte to Chicago to LA to Vegas.
You are actually confusing the 2 games because we lost that game.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
But yes,
I'm thinking
you
about
did
that game.
You did that too, and that was dumb.
So that was dumb in that game. And so then in your game, I rode with you. And that was to Tampa game. That was a good game there, but we rode there.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad trip down.
No, it's not too bad.
Not a bad trip, but either way, I still waited to the last minute to get a ticket, and it was not a good thing. I wouldn't recommend that. If you want to go to the national championship game, if Clemson ever makes it back again, you don't want to wait till the last minute. That's just my tip there for you. We got a ton to talk about, Al. Not stuff from 2015 and 2018 though. We have stuff to talk about from the current season as well. If I can, get up my notes. First of all, big time discussion on running back and who the starter is going to be this weekend or not. Also, I got some questions for the fans out there about Clemson basketball. Brad Brownell is getting the season underway. PJ Hall, ton of guys out there. Ian Shefflin, Joe Girard, Jack Clark. I'm looking forward to seeing what I'm seeing. I saw some of the highlights. I liked it. Also wanted to talk about Clemson's record and kind of where they are right now, where we think they'll go into the bowl season, if they will get into a bowl game. They've got 3 regular season games left. They're not going to go to the ACC championship game, as you know. But they have 3 regular season games to go. And really, honestly, has it not been the chapter has turned completely? I mean, the book was written now. The team sucks. All the coaches suck. They're not going to win another game. That was the book. Yeah. It was written. They had already published it.
Yep.
Written by Larry Williams. It was out. It was in Walgreens. It was in Barnes & Noble. I knew it. Forward by Phil Steele. And now, or Tim Bray. And now it's, well, wait a minute. Clemson's going to go to a bowl game. Clemson's going to win out. Clemson can do this. They found an identity. Oh, how the turntables have turned. Interesting what one game can do.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that. Clemson's now 5-4. We'll talk about Georgia Tech. I looked at some of their film, and I'll tell you what I think Clemson can do and what they will do to attack Clemson coming up this weekend. I'm going to be at that game. It's military appreciation. I'm going to have some of my family members there. My sister-in-law and my nephew and my wife and my daughter are all going to be there. We're going to have a great time. We're going to go wear our purple. And I am just so excited. You know what I love to do, Al? I love to stand up at halftime to the Army song.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully Ramona can cue up the Army song when we come back from break, because that's one of my favorite things to do when we do the military appreciation. Now, they did have a flyover this weekend.
Yes, they did.
So I was looking forward to a flyover. Now they're probably gonna do. Do you think they're going to throw us off and maybe do helicopters this time?
They very well could. A lot of times
I don't know.
they'll jump out, and kind of land on the field with a flag and all that kind of stuff. So that's cool too.
I got to tell you something though. Those Jets were smoking it because they were a little bit late.
They were a little bit late, and they turned towards the stadium, which is something they don't normally do. Normally it's just a straight flyover, so that was really cool too.
Well, if you're a pilot, you want to see the stadium as you're going. So if you turn 90 degrees, bam.
Yeah.
Not really 90 degrees, whatever you want to call that, tipping. I mean, they didn't really go 90, but it was really interesting how they curved around from corner to corner instead of straight over the end zone. Yeah, it was kind of interesting how it did. And did you notice this too? I sat next to a guy who was a pilot. Us pilots, we hang together.
Oh yeah.
And I was showing him the pictures of my friend's planes, and he was showing me pictures of his planes, his actual planes. He's like, "Oh, you a pilot?" I'm a pilot through other pilots.
Yes.
And did you notice there was a Cessna that kept circling the entire game?
I did not.
You got to be more aware of your surroundings.
Well, I was watching the game.
You wouldn't be in the military if you weren't aware of your surroundings like this. Come on, man. You got to step it up. You don't see that helicopter just fly. I mean, the plane flying around over and over and over.
Missed it.
It was a little bit. It kind of got me on edge. I don't like that.
Oh boy.
I looked it up on Flight 24 radar on my phone. There's some private Cessna. I don't know if they were filming. I thought I saw Jim Harbaugh. I swear to you. It was gold and blue up there.
Took it there first segment.
I swear to you, it was Connor Stallions up there filming our sideline and Notre Dame's just over and over and over. Come on, guys. Do you have to cheat like this? I don't know. I'd like somebody to know. Somebody that's listening tonight that's in the know, tell me about that plane because it kind of freaked me out. Also, have you noticed Life Flight a ton? Man, that helicopter. I'm praying for these people out here, man. Let's be safe when we're out here tailgating. I see that Life Flight just going up and down a bunch, and I'm like, oh, man, I hope people are being okay out here.
Yeah.
Be safe when you're tailgating out there. Please, please, please be responsible as well. But, yeah, a ton to talk about, not just Clemson, Georgia Tech. I want to talk about Southern California on the other side, the team that's actually imploding. I want to talk about them because they got a big game coming up. We've got our token Gamecock fan at the end of the hour. He's going to talk about the Gamecocks and the Commodores. Want to talk about the offensive line. I know everybody wants to talk about that. Talk about some of the players of the game from the Notre Dame game and how do you think they will continue to perform the rest of the season, and continuing about the offensive line. Some of this stuff about zone blocking and duo blocking. I want to get into that and see what you think and kind of talk about it as we go. Again, you can get in and be a part of the show. As we go through break, I'll read through your text and we'll get you back on. If you want to get on live, it's 864-654-7627. If you want to watch us, you can watch over on YouTube at The Morgan Thomas Show. We'll be right back after this.
Okay, this is what I have for Army.
Okay.
And I just have it because I have stuff like that.
All right.
All right, so tell me if this is what you're thinking about. That's the beginning. I don't know why it's like that.
No.
That's not Army.
That's when something goes marching in. When the Saints go marching?
No.
It says Army.
You just do like.
Okay. How do you want me to search it?
Do the Army goes rolling on.
And it'll come up?
Yeah, see if that comes up.
So Dylan's calling at the end of this hour?
Yeah, he's gotta work.
Oh, please.
Okay, what is it called again?
The Army goes marching on or something is what he said.
Army goes marching on.
Or rolling on.
Rolling on. Sorry.
Army goes rolling on.
Best thing was Will wasn't there.
What does that mean? Shipley?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. That's pretty rude.
Yeah.
The Army goes rolling along.
Yeah.
Along. Okay, the Army goes rolling along. All right, okay, I got you. You want to come back with that, you say?
Yeah. There we go. Now we got the USB going.
USB.
Now, can you turn it a little bit so it's? I'd like to. Nice. That's it.
Now you had it
Don't pull
last
back.
time you
Bring
were on. It
closer
worked.
And turn it that. Make sure it's pointing. Yeah, like that. Well, a little bit more this way. Less on you, more on me.
The last time you were on, you had it working, didn't you?
It's working now. Yeah, it's working.
No.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, perfect.
Ow, slide over.
I am gonna slide over.
Slide over. Slide over, man. Why are you not in the shot anymore?
Championship at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville on November 10th and 12th, featuring the men's basketball teams from Clemson, Maryland, Davidson, and UAB. Tickets are on sale now at AshevilleChampionship.com. Get tickets now before they sell out. AshevilleChampionship.com. Save your spot and cheer on your team at the Asheville Championship on November 10th and 12th. Proudly sponsored by Ingles.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along.
Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Thank you, Ramona. Hey, the army's on its way. Yeah, I can't wait for halftime to get up and sing that. Now, they don't play it really that long, but you know. So here's my story about that song, Ramona. They made me sing that as I was in the gas chamber. You know, you have to go in and you have to get gassed when you're in basic training.
Right.
And so they teach you how to clear your mask and everything. By the way, one of the tricks is they make you eat chili mac the day that lunchtime at lunch on the day of. So chili and macaroni and cheese and chili. And, you know, it's not good if you have to, you know, see it again, if you know what I mean. So they make you, the drill sergeants make you eat that on purpose because they want you to kind of like, you know, they want you to suffer. So you get into at least when I was there, you get in there, you get into this.
They just wanted you.
Me and like 300 other people. Yeah. So we get in there and, you know, they're clearing the mask and everything, got the gas mask on and everything. And I think I'm doing great. They tell me to break my seal and to give them my name and my social. So I break my name and I break my seal and I say Thomas, but then as I say Thomas, I breathe in. So instead of breathing in with it on, I'm so nervous that I open it up and breathe in then. And I just lose it. I couldn't even say anything. I was like, couldn't even say anything. Well, then he was like, all right, you know, put your mask back on. You know, put your mask back on. So I put my mask back on. I clear it. My face is just burning. And I'm just like crying, snot, everything. Just picture this, right? You can see me now, and as beautiful as I am, just picture me terrible. Okay. So then
I'll try.
So then before I leave,
Jeez.
before they let me leave, they say, all right, hot shot, you're going to have to take your mask completely off
Yeah.
and sing the Army song.
Uh-oh. Okay.
And so I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the biggest doggone breath I can take, and I'm going to take that mask off. And I got to first to fight for the right, and like I got to like one sentence of it, and I started choking. I'm losing it. And, snot going everywhere. And they finally just throw me out. And then I finally, once you get into actual air and oxygen and, outside, it gets better. Did not throw up.
You didn't have to do it again?
No, I didn't have to do it again. It's more about just experiencing that,
Oh, so they didn't teach you how to get through it.
Well, I mean,
and hacking.
It kind of showed me how important it is for you to have it on there and to have faith that it works.
Right.
Because if you've never had one on, you don't know like how it works. And also to know how to clear it, because you can breathe in and then you can press on the filter and then blow out, and it'll clear out all the nasty stuff that's in your face.
Right.
So you learn how to do that. So you have more confidence with your equipment. But yeah, it was a terrible experience at that time, but I was 17. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
it was a good video, by the way.
Yeah. I got it on VHS somewhere.
Oh, of course you did.
If you have a VHS player, I'll bring it and show it to you.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah. It was good times.
Oh, darn, my VHS player it's in the trash.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gosh. Well, I have to like convert it to DVD and then maybe, maybe show you
Send
that.
it to me. Gee.
Oh man, some good times being in the military, and that's what I love about being a Clemson fan is that they do respect the military and they honor everybody
yes, of course.
that serving now, that may serve in the future, and the ones that have already served and ones that have left us, too soon, or that have left us after a long life. I love that Clemson honors all veterans for a game like this, and with the Purple Heart, and having the purple out, it's pretty cool. So very, very excited to take my family to get them to see it. My daughter, she just loves it. She just always like, Dad, are you going to stand up now? Are you going to stand up now? And I'm like, wait for my song. And then I stand up, and she just thinks it's the coolest thing that, I get to stand up. A couple of years ago, they actually let me go down the hill at halftime. And let me tell you something. It's a steep hill. I remember it as a kid.
Roll, did you?
Do I?
You didn't roll.
I didn't roll. I had on. You remember Sperry's, Al?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I was wearing Sperry's.
Interesting. I can see that.
And you don't want to wear Sperry's going down. You don't want to wear boat shoes going down the hill.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. For sure. But it was a good time for sure. Again, really, really looking forward to military appreciation. I'm sure they'll have stuff on Tillman, over there at Tillman in the field there, Bowman Field.
Yeah, a lot of times they do.
I'm sure they'll have the flyover. I don't know what it's going to be, but then the stuff at the halftime. Hey, if you really got to go at halftime, go, but come back really quick because like I said, it's a good experience for sure. Let's get into the nitty gritty here, and let's talk about something that I know is all over social media. That is, how do you feel about the starting running back situation at Clemson after the game in which Phil Maffa had 36 carries and 186 yards, 2 scoring touchdowns? Now, Dabo Swinney has already said he's going to go with the hot hand, and that makes the most sense as a coach. Mm-hmm. So, honestly, the question that I have for the fans out there and for us in this roundtable here, how do you feel about the decision to start Phil Maffa at running back, going with the hot hand after his impressive performance against Notre Dame? Now, to me, when I look at it, a lot of fans out there say, wow, this is kind of weird because Will Shipley's always been number 1 and Phil Maffa's always been like 1B. And now it's going to be Phil Maffa's 1. And, honestly, Phil Maffa had such a good game. Maybe he's 1 and Will Shipley's 2. Instead of 1A, 1B. And I will say there's a lot of fans that say, now, Morgan, this should have always been the case. Why has it taken 9 games to get to the point where we're at now? Phil Maffa should have always been running back 1, and Will Shipley should have always been running back number 2. I will say this. It's not a shock to me that Phil Maffa is going to get a chance to continue because simply you just go with the hot hand. You do it in basketball, Al.
Yep.
You do it in baseball. You do it in softball. If you have a position where two players share it and one's hitting better than the other, you go with the hot hand. One's pitching better than the other, you go with the hot hand. One's shooting the three better than the other, you go with the hot hand. So really, it's a non-issue. If you're Will Shipley, you understand. Hey, you don't want to lose your starting job because of an injury, especially one scary like that. Got hit in the back of the neck and was, laid out on the ground. That was scary. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make sense that you would go with Phil Maffa in this case. And I lean towards the camp of that it should have been this way from the beginning. To me, Phil Maffa is a great first and second down guy, and Will Shipley is a guy you have to have if you are in a passing situation because he's more dynamic in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like, especially with the running scheme, the way it's designed now, that I want to see more Phil Maffa. I don't think anybody would disagree with me. But I will say this too. I wonder what Will Shipley can do with a simpler running scheme from the offensive line. Because it worked well for Phil Maffa, why wouldn't it work well for Will Shipley as well? Again, Dabo Swinney said fans have amnesia. They forget that just a week ago or the past 2 years of Will Shipley have been pretty good. Also, there's been some frustrations with Will Shipley, no denying it. But there's also been frustrations with Phil Maffa as well. So, Al, how do you feel about the decision? You know my feelings. What's your feeling?
Yeah, I feel like that it's a good thing to do to go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt and ride the hot hand, as you like to say. And I think that's completely fair. I don't think it's fair to discount Will Shipley here and talk about Maffa being the guy and he should have been the guy all along or whatever it may be, because I think, like you mentioned, you'd have to have had Will Shipley on the field against Notre Dame with the exclusive, zone blocking scheme for the most part, to see what he would have been able to do as well. Maybe he does as good as Maffa. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does better. Who knows? We're never going to find that out because he was not in the game. But it's the first game it seems like we've actually opened up any types of holes on offense and from the line. So that's kind of how you have to look at that. And it's Maffa, I think, over the course of his career has shown to have a little more patience as a runner, which is a lot of people's knock on Shipley, is the fact that he kind of hits the hole too fast. He might run in the back of his offensive lineman and whatnot. So that can be an issue with him. And then, on the opposite side of the coin, they say Will Shipley's a better pass protector. He's not the greatest pass protector, but, he picks up his assignments better than Maffa, according to some out there, in the Twitterverse or the Xverse or whatever it may be called now. But I certainly think after the game he had on Saturday, that you have to trot him out there and see if the trend continues. I think you'd be remiss if you did not do that.
Asher gets it over on Facebook. If you're watching the Morgan Thomas Show on YouTube and Facebook as well, like and subscribe. Asher says, give the ball to Shipley 36 times, then compare.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's kind of exactly what I was talking about. He needs to be given the same opportunity in the same situation in order to really judge side by side who's the better. I don't want to say who's the better running back, but who's the one you go with. Do you stay with Shipley as at 1 and Maffa 2, or do you keep it the opposite? I think you have to have. I think it's apples to oranges right now, and I think you need a same scenario type comparison.
I think it was so bad before you really can't hold anything against either one of them.
Yeah.
For 9 games, and Al, really 8 games. Why? Why did it take them 9 games to stop doing this guard tackle counter? It hadn't worked all year.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing that I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing that they did. We've got a caller in now, Clark from Greenwood. You are on the air with the Morgan Thomas Show.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good. What's up?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
We can.
I was just checking. Well, about the Maffa situation and the Shipley situation, I think that, we've seen Maffa like in the Florida State game, right? He had a pretty good game against Florida State. Not knocking Shipley, but right now, would you really want to run him this week, considering he's just coming off an injury? I mean, I would probably give him another week to rest up, maybe get him in there a few plays, and just see how his injuries are, if he's better. But me personally, I wouldn't really take a chance because you still got North Carolina next week, and then the rivalry with little brother, and we want to win that. So I mean, that's just my opinion on that. But Moffa, man, he's just. It seems like the other day when I was watching him against Notre Dame, he got better in the third and fourth quarter. He looks like he got stronger running, you know. And he's a big guy. What is he? 6'1", 230. And he's going to be your typical NFL running back. You know, he kind of reminds me of Derrick Henry, you know, with maybe is Moffa a senior or is he a junior this year?
They both are juniors, I believe. So that's the one issue, is that originally, if you remember, Clark, they were going to redshirt Moffa. And then with injuries that happened, they ended up not able to do that, and now they're stacked. And so that is a concern there, that you want to feed them both because of that loss of a red shirt. That was the original plan 3 years ago. And so you have to
because Moffa,
spread it out.
Moffa, didn't he threaten to leave? I mean,
well, you know,
that's
a theory. I don't know. I can't speak to that.
I really don't think Shipley would leave. I mean, me personally, I think you got to give it to Moffa. He had almost 200 yards rushing. I mean, he was carrying Notre Dame players, and Notre Dame had a good defense. They have a good defense, and they stopped a lot of people this year. But I'm really impressed with the guys coming out on the offensive line. The younger guys, I think, was it 3 freshmen? Was it 3 freshmen on the line this past week?
Yeah, they rotated them through. I mean, because of necessity, because of the injuries that were there. And that's what I was saying to Big Al, is that it does make sense what Asher was saying as well. You want to give Will Shipley an opportunity. If he's truly healthy, as you mentioned, they probably are going to have him on some sort of pitch count, you know, because, I mean, that was a pretty violent hit. I agree with you. That was pretty scary. I mean, I don't want to see anybody. If you think about it, that's your son out there. You don't want to see that. That was a scary hit. Mean, and so it could take him much more than 1 week.
I may understand if we're 8 or 9-0, maybe getting him out there, and still I wouldn't take a chance. But you know, the season, not saying it's over, and the kids, they want to play and they want to win, but do you really want to risk a chance of him really hurting himself? Not just because of football, but because he's a young kid, and But I just think it would be if I was going to make the call, it would be you're gonna stay out another week, man. We gotta have you on down the road, and we got next year coming up, and But anyway, hey man, I love your show, and you guys take care.
Yeah, appreciate it, Clark. And if you are going to the game this weekend, make sure you wear that purple and support maybe stand up for the Army with me.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
All right, Clark. Thank you again. Thanks for being a part of the show. So talking about statistics here. 109 carries, 625 yards compared to Will Shipley's 112 carries, 515. My math teacher would be mad at me for saying 112. I'm sorry. I can't remember his name. But, so 5.7 yards average for Phil Moffa, 4.6 yards Will Shipley. Touchdowns, Moffa has 8, Shipley has 3. Moffa has a 49-yarder. And that was one against Duke. And then Will Shipley has a 21-yarder. I don't remember when that one was. But statistically speaking, Big Al, Phil Moffa is above Will Shipley. So would that prove the fact that he's really should be RB1?
I don't think it can definitively prove anything because they're relatively close. It's not. I don't think somebody's just running away with this thing one way or the other. But again, you need to have a bigger sample size with the new offensive line scheme. And heck, I don't know if we continue with the new guys. Are any of the injured players going to be back this week at all? I know Tate obviously it won't be. But I don't know about the others. I think Sadler may have been playing a little bit hurt as well.
Right.
We're really struggling with the depth on the offensive line right now. But you know what? They show up and show out like they did on Saturday. I don't know that it's going to matter much.
With both Phil Moffa and Will Shipley now available, we expect them to be available. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Clemson's running back rotation will be – what do you think the management will be? Give me a percentage.
I think right now it should be Moffa around 65%, something like that. Shipley maybe at 30 and the rest 5. And – I mean, that's just because, like you said, coming off an injury, I think you got to be a little bit careful with him right now.
I think so too. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Phil Maffa maybe at 70%.
Sure.
Just because, I mean, that was a wicked hit.
Yeah, it was.
And so I want to see Will Shipley. We've got a big game. We got every game in front of us is a big game, but I want him to stay healthy and get back to 100%. I don't want him to rush anything. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We're not rushing anything here because we got 2 hours of the Morgan Thomas Show. Thanks to Ben and John and everybody here to support us and allow us to be here every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And also Ramona being our wonderful producer who, by the way, golf clap. Another great week of picks. Golf clap.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
She is on a roll, everybody. If you got some money, call Ramona because she knows how to pick them. She's giving me a look like, no, please don't, please. All right. Well, hey, this is the Morgan Thomas Show. We'll come back. We've got more to discuss right after this.
Cars cost less than travelers.
Thoughts on segment 3?
You.
Yeah, you should. He should be coming in. Oh man, I had to turn the AC down. I had to turn it down, Ramona. I'm sweating. Well, I mean, my legs are just soaked. It's so hot in here. I tell you, they don't care about the night shift.
Make sure when you leave that you turn it back where it was.
Yeah. Remind me.
Oh. Great.
John says Power 5 teams had averaged 4.6 yards rushing on Notre Dame. So is it not that big a deal? Is that telling me that it doesn't matter, or that it was expected to have that?
Say that stat again.
Power 5 teams had 4.6 yards rushing on average versus Notre Dame.
Oh gosh, okay. I thought I heard Wall say it was a lot lower than that, but I don't remember. I don't believe it.
If I go to collegefootballstats.com, right? That's where I go. Now I know you don't do any research.
No.
Get Tyler from Spartanburg online. No, thank you. He's had his moment. Let's just put it that way. He said what he needed to say. Defense. Where's defense? Rushing.
Not only are they roofing specialists, they're also general contractors offering interior and exterior remodeling services, bathroom, kitchen remodels, gutters, siding, painting, flooring, cabinets, and carpentry. Call Adams & Co. today for all your home improvement needs. 864.
Which is not bad. Actually, they are at 3.91. So, John, I don't know where you got that from, but Power 5, Notre Dame's 3.91. They're 42nd in the country. Clemson is at 3.73, and they're 32nd. If you were at 4.6 versus Power 5, you would be like a Washington State, a Arizona State, Tulsa, Colorado. That's area 80s.
Welcome back into the Morgan Thomas Show on 105.5 and 97.5 The Roar. We are continuing our discussion. We just left off about the running back situation and who should be the starter, who shouldn't be the starter. You know, a lot of discussion there. I thought it was pretty interesting to see some of the stats. Now, John over on YouTube said that he felt like Notre Dame was 4.6 yards average versus Power 5. Well, when I looked it up on collegefootballstats.com and I click on versus FBS Power 5, Big Al, Notre Dame is at 3.91 average rushing defense. So that would be average yards per game, which is right below Georgia, who is at 3.90. And they were 42nd. Now, Clemson is up at 32nd. They're at 3.73. So Clemson's 32nd in the country. Best rushing defense in the country against Power 5. Well, some of these are skewed because some people have only played one Power 5, like James Madison, for example.
Okay.
But if you take a team that has played a bunch of Power 5 games, Penn State. Look at this, Al. 7 Power 5 games, 1.90 yards.
Insane.
How is that possible? 7 games, 1.90 yards per rush. I mean, Walt has been high on them for all year, and he says they're top to bottom an NFL defense. How can you deny that? 0.90 yards per rush against Penn State. You don't want to play that team, do you, Big Al? When it comes to rushing,
right?
Other teams up there, UCLA is pretty high up there. Teams of note, let's see, Texas A&M, Texas, Utah, Oregon. Some of these teams we'll talk about as we continue through the show tonight. This is the final segment of the first hour. We're supposed to have our token Gamecock fan on, I think, sometime coming up soon. So Ramona, be checking in on that and just make sure, because he's working late tonight, so he's going to try to sneak in when he can. But I wanted to continue our talk about Clemson and shift some gear, Gamecock fan. Let's shift some gears to the Clemson men's. Okay.
So, like I said, Monday and Wednesday are gymnastics night. We're there till 8:00, and then we got to go eat before we get everybody in bed. So I was trying to watch at gymnastics and at the Mexican restaurant near our house. Me and my girls were trying to watch as well as we were scarfing the salsa and cheese dip and all of the things. So, and it was on my phone. So kind of small. The pictures are a lot smaller on your phone, believe it or not, than they are in person. But I got to tell you, we came out to me and looked a little shaky. We came out and didn't shoot quite as well as I had hoped. Now, I mean, that's you could be expected for the first game. I'm not concerned about it at this point by any means. I was hoping we would come out a little bit sharper. I think we did a little bit better job of that in the second half. But I have to tell you, from what I saw, the length, the athleticism of this team looks different. They really look like they get after you on defense. They really look like they can move. And I think once some of our shooters get hot, particularly Gerard, he didn't take a bunch of shots last night. I think he only scored like 3 points or something like that. He's going to have to do more than that moving forward. And I think Chase Hunter had about 10. I think we should be able to get, somewhere in the 14 to 16 range from him on a per night basis, or need to. But I think this is a really, really good, well-rounded team who's got a chance to make a good run.
Well, I'm not going to get into a ton of hype preseason, beginning of the season hype. I'm trying to avoid that because, I've been burned by the other team.
Sure.
The pigskin team.
Yeah.
I've been burned by that one. So I'm trying to stay away from like overhyping a team after one win or just seeing them and saying they're going to go all the way. We don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, you got to stay healthy. That's one big thing for
100%.
any team, basketball, football, whatever.
Yep.
But what I thought was interesting is that unselfish style of play. Brad Brownell described it. He said, we are a team that I think they're skilled. We have a team that likes each other. That's a good thing, right?
That's good.
I think that's why we were so successful. Each other. We're I was a willing passer because I knew I wasn't going to score, so I'd pass it. I was a willing pass. But Brad Brownell continues to say he has a team that likes each other, so they're willing passers, and he thinks that their IQ is really good. So how do you feel about the Clemson Tigers' unselfish style of play? I mean, they passed the ball, I think 21 assists on the night. I think comparatively, they just really outdid Winthrop for sure. Do you think it's going to be a key factor going in this season?
Yeah, they passed the ball really well. As a matter of fact, I would say sometimes at times last night that might have been a little too unselfish, and they need to attack sometimes a little bit more. But I think that'll come. It was just first game type deal, so I think they're going to be really good here.
Joe Girard and Jack Clark got in the game as well. I thought that was pretty cool to see them get kind of warmed up. Now, Girard actually started the game. Clark came in later on. Those transfers, that's the one thing everybody wants to talk about, transfers with football. Brad Brownell does really well, and John Rittman, a lot of the teams out there on Clemson side of things do really well in the transfer portal. You can't really knock Brad Brownell in that way. He knows how to go out and get key players that he can improve his team. Now, we might not get to see them for more than 1 year, which I hate that about that. I'd love to see these guys for more than just 1 year, because it feels like when you get to a point where you can really get to enjoy them, then they only have like 4 games left. So adding those transfers and Girard and Clark, I think, are a big deal. I think their presence is going to impact their performance. Obviously, Girard's a great scorer, and it seemed like Clark's pretty good down low. Later on in the game, he did well. You think that those guys fitting well with the guys that were already there?
Yeah, so far so good. Again, I think we talked about Girard a little bit. Maybe giving up the ball too much. Maybe want him to be a little more aggressive on the offensive end. I think that'll come once. I think he's probably already got the respect of his teammates. I mean, he was a great player already. So that's going to come. I mean, they just need a little more chemistry to happen throughout the season. I think they'll really lean on each other's strengths. It's just, I just like the makeup of this basketball team. I think, I think the length, I think the athleticism is gonna potentially take them a long way. And I should have clarified that before when I said make a run. I didn't mean necessarily make a run at the championship, but I think this is definitely a tournament team.
PJ Hall says they're a great scoring team, says they're going to be consistently fast, and that's the kind of work they've been putting in. Alex Hemingway was good as well. Brad Brownell says that they're going to shoot a lot of three-pointers this year and that they're going to go at a faster tempo. Now, they're going to be 5 or 6 each game that they're going to want back.
Yep.
I would say this. It seems like they're becoming more of an offensive team. They still have some things to clean up on the defense. I felt like some of Winthrop's buckets were pretty easy. I felt like they kind of got to the rim pretty, uncontested.
They got lost a couple times. Yep.
That was surprising to me from a Brad Brownell team. I hope that they kind of clean that up, but it does seem like there's a little bit of a transition because of personnel that they're going to be a run and shoot kind of team.
That's okay with me. I think that's what a lot of people like, the fast paced type stuff that Oliver Purnell had brought to the table. It was just a run, get to the rim, push, and keep pushing kind of deal. And that's fine with me. It's an offensive game. Defense. They used to say defense wins championships. I don't know if they said that in basketball as much as they said in football, but outscoring the guys is a lot more fun. It's a good product for the fans. So I'm all for it. If they want to score 100 a game, I'm cool with it.
And just like that, we have our token Gamecock fans. As you know, summertime they're really good friends with, and then winter, spring, fall, maybe not so much good friends with, but we're always good friends with our token Gamecock fan. JD, thank you for getting in and being a part of the show. I know you don't have much time, but welcome in.
Hey fellas, how we doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing great. How are you feeling?
I want to leave with this. What I was going to say, Alan, defense wins championships, but in basketball, rebounds win rings. That's what you're looking for.
We need to get some of that. Clemson has struggled at that in times in the past.
Now, JD,
go ahead.
South Carolina, 3-6 record in their and they secured a victory going into this Jacksonville State game. They were 38-28 overall. Mario Anderson had a strong game. How do you feel like the Gamecocks have been performing, and are you confident with how they can perform going into the Vanderbilt game?
usually, you know, when you think you're playing Vandy, there's not many things I'd call a sure win, but it used to be that'd be a sure win. But with the way we've been playing, that Jacksonville State game, the score game. Although Jacksonville State's like, what, 7-2, 8-2. It's not like they're a pushover in their division, but still, for the competition we play, we should have been head and shoulders above them, honestly. But, you know, any team can beat any team any given day. I feel confident. I'd like to say that, but you just never know. I'd love to say that we win that game. I'd like for both Clemson and Carolina to win out at least till they play each other, you know, to make it competitive for one of us.
Right? Do you feel like that you can cover 12 points?
To be honest with you, I'd love to say yes, but there's been times when our defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So we'll wait and see. Well, the verdict's out on that. We can cover the 12. I think, honestly, 7, 8 points. I think that could be maybe as much as 10. I don't know about 12.
Well, Vanderbilt doesn't have a good passing defense. You actually do have a good passing offense. So I think that would kind of point well in your favor.
Spencer upright.
That is true. I think a lot of people also know that out there that the Gamecocks have a hard time protecting their quarterback this year. 3 games left. Let me tell me your confidence on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most confident. Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Clemson, where are you at? Real quick.
8, 4 or 5. Toss up with Clemson. You know, anytime you just got to throw it out of the window with rivalry games. You just never know. You know, with Clemson, if they can hold on to their momentum after what's happened in the past week with Clemson, if Dabo was asleep, like I said, you guys have woke up a sleeping giant. And if you guys can ride that momentum, Clemson could make a little run here at the end.
I appreciate it, JD. Thank you for being a part of the show. We're right at the top of the hour, so we got to get to it. That was our token Gamecock fan. This is the Morgan Thomas Show, and we got hour number 2 coming right up after this.
WCCP FM 105.5.
Hit the end button just in time before he started his next sentence.
Yeah, right. All right. I hope everybody's having a good time with the show so far. Enjoying it. Got some thoughts in here. We'll start off, Big Al, with games of the week. You want to do that?
Sure.
What was on your schedule? Games of the week.
Games of the week, the 12 o'clock, obviously Michigan, Penn State. 3:30, you have Miami, FSU, Utah, Washington, Tennessee, Missouri. And at 7, you got Ole Miss, Georgia. 10, Southern Cal, Oregon.
Highway 183 in Piedmont, South Carolina. Swing by our store and drive home your dream car today. Go Tigers. If you have sinking concrete around your home, Kinky Foundation specialists can lift and restore your concrete to help eliminate drip hazards and pooling water problems. We level concrete driveways, walkways, patios, pool decks, and slabs in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia using a proven polyurethane foam injection solution called PolyLevel. PolyLevel, we can quickly restore the appearance and safety of your concrete without the mess or cost replacement of traditional mud jack. Call today, 1-844-333-7354.
Looking to turn your dream home into reality? Look no further than Founders Federal Credit Union for all your mortgage loan needs. Our mortgage mortgage loans are designed with you in mind. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or upgrading your space, we understand that where you live.
So, guy says, Morgan, where's the best place to park from Cashiers for a public lot?
That's our anymore. I mean, he would be coming in down where the rugby field is, probably.
Our mortgage loan officers are here to answer any questions you might have and to help you as you begin the home buying process. Stop by one of our.
I usually park at the driving range, no matter where I come from. That's where I usually go.
Sure.
The Gamecocks can't even cover 3, let alone 12. Ramona, did you pick South Carolina in the pick'em?
No, I don't ever pick them,
Kudos.
but I will say by the spread.
Oh, man. So we did run you back. Welcome back in. Hour number 2 of the Morgan Thomas Show. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of the show. 864-654-7627. It's not just a show about me, even though my name is on it. You can get in and be a part of it. We got a ton of people getting in and on the text line. So thank you so much for supporting the show. If you are on your way home, maybe you're going out to dinner or you're heading into work for a night shift. This is kind of the night shift. That's what I dub it. You know, if it ever becomes a permanent show, Ramona, I might call it the night shift. You know, I think that works. Or the Roar After Dark. You know, that's a little bit more risky. I like that. You know,
Risky?
risque.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
After dark. You never know what's going to happen at the Roar After Dark. You have to say it like that too. I like it. You know, I enjoy the opportunity to talk on Sports Talk. It's really fun. And I love that the Roar has actual people, you know, not like people in LA, those fake people in LA and New York that don't know anything about what we have to deal with here. I like that the Roar has local talent, really, really great talent that know a lot about everything, especially Walt. I mean, the shows, the station's draft expert, and then you got Mickey, who I work with in the morning on Tuesdays, and he is 25 years. Did you know that, Ramona? Last Thursday was his 25th year.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. I was told that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was very excited about that, to be a part of that show, that 25th anniversary show, which I didn't know anything about. But man, what's awesome to be doing this for 25 years, doing something you love for 25 years. How many people can say that you're doing something you love for 25 years? You know, it's not common anymore, you know. But anyways, all right. So we've got a ton to continue to talk about. If you missed the last segment, we talked about Clemson and the running back situation. We can continue that. Lots of thoughts there. We talked about Clemson and the offense and how they performed against Notre Dame and my experience at Notre Dame. And it was a great time there. Hopefully, we talked about the military appreciation game coming up this weekend. Hopefully, you'll be able to go and support the Tigers and also support the veterans and active duty members still out and reservists and guard members out there now serving our country, protecting us and our freedoms. And we talked about Clemson's men's basketball. And then we got our token Gamecock fan there at the end who is less than confident, very confident about going into this weekend against
Vanderbilt, but less than confident in the last 2 games of the season with Kentucky and Clemson, even though they are hosting Clemson. So interesting year for sure. With the performance that Clemson has had compared to the expectations, do you feel like that the 5-4 record, I know that we're kind of on a high here. At first, again, I said last week it was all burn it all down. Now this week it's okay, maybe there's some momentum. So Al, are you what part of the boat are you on now? Are you on the side of the boat where you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to think that Clemson's going to win 9 games. They're going to win a bowl game too. First of all, the chat gets in over on YouTube and says, will Clemson make a bowl game?
Ouch.
So I'm interested in your perspective on that as well. If you look at just the ESPN FPI predictor, they're an 80% chance to win against Georgia Tech, a 58% chance to win against North Carolina, and a 68% chance to win against South Carolina. So statistically, analytically speaking, Clemson, according to ESPN's analytics, they are favored to win the next 3 games, which would, of course, put them in bowl eligibility. They just need one more. Dabo Swinney now at 166 wins. Will he get to 167 or 168, 169? Will he even get to 170?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting conversation. Had you asked me last week, I would have given you a much more dire outcome. But right now, obviously you're riding the high from the Notre Dame game. Georgia Tech is a team that's playing pretty well. We know the offensive capabilities that Drake May and the North Carolina Tar Heels have, and the fact that we were a superior team and somehow lost at home to that other team from South Carolina last year. Nothing is a given here from this time forward. But right now, I'd have to say I think we're winning 2 out of those last 3 games. And I'll be honest with you, your guess is as good as mine which 2. But I just feel like we haven't seen enough this season to believe we're going to go the rest of this schedule unscathed. Now, if we continue and to play like on Saturday, able to get that push from the line, really going to make it a lot easier and give us a much better shot of winning out from here.
Texter on the Adams & Co. Roofing text line is saying that we need to show love to the defense and Aiden Swanson. I got to be honest with you. I think that our hosts here in the morning and the daytime have definitely done it. How key was it that you were able to kind of, the punting team and the punter was able to put them deep into their own territory? And honestly, the defense and those guys that stepped up, man, Kylan Griffin, Avion Terrell, those are guys that Al on our YouTube channel, we did videos of them in high school and we saw them. So we knew that they were good. And obviously Avion has that pedigree there for sure. It wasn't shocking to see them, but it's always fun when you watch them in high school, when you see their film and you think they're going to do good. They don't always do good. I would say it's probably a 52% chance that they'll do good.
Yeah.
If they're highly rated. That's if they're highly rated. So less than that if they're not. So I think that it's always good to see them do well. I think that Terrell has really come on and shown, hey, I need a second look. I need a third look. Griffin as well. Hey, I need a second, third look. Now I know they got guys in front of them that are seniors, and that's what kind of how it works.
Yep.
You have to wait your time. You have to wait your turn. But I do feel like that Clemson's defense is in a good hands there. I'm still concerned about the defensive end position because there's a gap there between what they have now and the younger guys. There's a big experience gap. I don't know what they're going to do there, but I do feel like that Clemson's in good hands in the secondary for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. I like the secondary a lot. I think there's a lot of athleticism there, a lot of playmakers there, and we've already seen that, particularly with Barnes over there at safety, who's done a really good job. Koval's gotten in a good bit too. He's injured now, but has looked good. It's in some of his opportunities. Terrell, obviously, the pedigree there, as you mentioned. There's a lot to like. I'm very high on Lucas, as you know. And Toriano Pride was somebody that we were really high on, when he was coming into Clemson. And he has actually really turned the corner, I feel like, this year so far, and his opportunities has looked really good, especially later in the season. So I think the secondary is in really good hands with Coach Mike Reed. It's the question about defensive ends, a very valid question. I think it's going to be interesting to see going forward to the end of this season. As Dabo said, you can get those guys in there and without having to, take off their red shirt. Do we see, a good bit of Hoffler? Do we see some of Ojebwe? Are they going to come in and make an impact? And does that affect the mindset going into the offseason as to whether they try to dip into the portal maybe for some experience and a dynamic playmaker at end? Is that something they do? Is it something they reconsider if these guys come in and show that maybe they're a little farther along than we thought? Because obviously we know we have TJ Parker, and what an unbelievable end he has been. He's been an absolute playmaker for Clemson this year, and honestly don't even want to think about where Clemson would be without him so far. So we're in good shape at one of the ends going into next season. But even if these younger ones come up and play well, does Dabo decide, we're still going to need some experience there. We're going to need a proven playmaker to come in and kind of bridge that gap for a year. I think that's highly likely that we try to find somebody in that respect. And the linebacker situation is different as well. Are we losing Carter? Are we losing Trotter? A lot of people think they're going pro. And they certainly could for sure. I think particularly Carter is going to test really well if he decides to go. So there's kind of some worry about the depth at linebacker next year, even though I know we have Sammy Brown coming in. Everybody likes Wood as they should,
right?
And we've got some other guys as well who could potentially play. Creighton has gotten some praise, and I really like the athleticism of Anderson. I still think he has a bit of ways to go to learn the system, but is it something did they look at something there? I don't really know. It's going to be a real fun offseason to decide if Dabo finally uses the portal, if he makes the fans happy.
Ramona has pickleball going up, pickleball tournament, Al. You see this up on the TV here? I cannot believe it. I mean, I play pickleball, Al, nothing like these guys.
No.
Nothing.
You play it like tennis.
I play it like tennis, man. I am running my butt off.
Yeah.
I never sit still. I'm sweating profusely and going all over the court. And these guys are just sitting there. They might as well have a chair, just going back and forth, just dinking it over the net. Just it's almost like a large ping pong.
Yep.
I mean, like life-size ping pong. I don't know how I feel about it. Now, Al, I know you're a great Alan, if you're not aware, Big Al is a 3 or 4 time Carnival Cruise ping pong champion. Okay, Ramona, this is legit. He's won thousands of dollars. At least that's what I think.
That's not legit.
Okay, well,
I have won a couple of tournaments on those cruises, but not thousands of dollars.
Well, that's the story I tell. Okay, so if it's wrong, tell me now. Well, actually, don't tell me because I like my story. So I'm going to stick with it.
Sure.
Alan has won tens of thousands of dollars.
Make it hundreds of thousands.
Alan has won. Nobody would believe that, though. So nobody, I can't go that far.
He's on the air disputing you right now.
Well,
it's part of my job.
I mean, most people believe me over him, even if he's talking about his life experience. So,
you're going to correct him on his own life experience?
Well, I know better. I've watched it. He lived it. I watched it. But he is a multi-time ping pong champion of the Carnival Cruise Lines. When they get on there, everybody knows he's going to shake you down. They put a post on the billboards hey, if you see this man, do not play him in ping pong and don't take any bets because he is sandbagging. He will take you for all your money.
I'll hustle.
He will hustle you. Yes. Continuing back to the Clemson talk because, ping pong and pickleball is fun, but what does Clemson need to do to have success against Georgia Tech? Do they need to continue what they did against Notre Dame? I think so. I mean, they've obviously found something. 24-9 edge in the first half against Notre Dame. There are still some concerns out there. But I do feel like with the running game, you have to do what you did. That you finally found an identity. Mm-hmm. You found something that works. Phil Maffa was able to do it, I think, as our viewers over on YouTube have mentioned that, even Will Shipley should be able to thrive in this type of running game. So whatever they've done and they've adjusted has worked. And I think they need to continue that, not just the hot hand, but the style of play that they've done, the scheme that they've done in that zone blocking and duo blocking that they've done. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but I feel like that Clemson needs to continue that. Now, what I would like to see, Al, I would like to see Cade also improve.
Oh yeah.
Cade will come out and he'll tell you, well, we're balanced and we just went with what works. And they're going to do that against Georgia Tech again too, because it tees up perfectly. Georgia Tech is one of the worst rushing defenses in the country. Okay. They're a pretty good offense. They've been doing well the past couple of games. They've scored 91 points over their last 2 games. Okay. But their defense lets up a bunch of points too.
Yeah. And
they let up a bunch of yards. So I think Qualk mentioned it earlier today. They're one of the few teams that has, on average, 200 plus passing and rushing yards, but also 200 and plus passing and rushing allowed. So they're one of the worst on the best on one side and the worst on one side. So they know how to move the ball on offense. And Haynes King is good. He's consistently gotten better. Now, Cade Klubnik, on the other hand, finished with 109 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. And he said, you know what? We found the hot hand. We found what worked, and we just gave it to him. I feel like they'll do the same thing again, but it doesn't really help me with my confidence in the quarterback. There's still something missing there, and it may be that this is what needs to happen just because you have Antonio Williams out. Maybe Antonio Williams is that big of a difference for Cade, but I do feel like that it would be nice to see the passing game get going in some way. That is typically what teams are doing, the elite teams. They're passing the ball much more, right?
Right.
It's not like back in the day when it was like the best running teams make it all the way, right? Passing the ball is the fun thing. It's the exciting thing. It's the big plays, right? It's the 4 plays and a touchdown. But Clemson's having to do it rushing the ball. And they found success, and they had a big play where Phil Moffitt was able to not only get to the second level, but beat the second level. A lot of people doubted whether he could even do that, whether Clemson had the kind of speed that could beat the second level, but they obviously do. They just have to get there. They have to find a way to get to that second level.
That's right.
But going into this matchup with Georgia Tech, do you feel like it'll be more of the same? And is that okay? Or how are you feeling about Cade and how they should handle him? Because it really statistically wasn't a very good game for him.
Yeah, which I say that it kind of shocks me a little bit because I remember a few good plays in the passing game, some kind of deeper, I don't want to say deep routes, not like 40 yards or anything, but, 15 to 20 yard routes over the middle that he had connected on. I remember mentioning specifically to my father-in-law that those looked really good. It's that middle of the field stuff we've been talking about that we really like. And it, I didn't realize he only had 109 yards. That's a lot lower than I would have guessed, actually. But yeah, you didn't mention when you were, going over the laundry list of injuries that Clemson was dealing with and how, it did not look good for this game. We didn't mention the fact that Cade had his leg taped up and his ankle taped as well. So he had some kind of sleeve on his leg. His ankle was taped up. I feel like they really were trying to limit him as far as him in the run game, which I think is a huge part of his game. It's something I think we need to get going now. Obviously, it seems like they're trying to be a little cautious with him, maybe with whatever he's got going on there. But, maybe that forced him to stay in the pocket a little more, and he was able to hit a couple of those plays that I was talking about. And maybe we'll see more of that against Georgia Tech. I would imagine Georgia Tech, if they're a bad run defense, they're really going to stack the box heavy this weekend and try to make us win throwing the ball. And Cade's going to have to be a factor in the run game. He's going to have to be a factor on the edge, finding people open, I believe, if that's the case.
Texter on the Adams & Co. Roofing text line says that he feels like that it's just not time for Cade right now. He still needs some more work. Dabo Swinney is just not – there's a trust issue there. When you allow him to open up, he throws an interception. Now, I wouldn't blame that interception on Cade, would you?
Oh, of course not.
I mean, that was one that was a drop, was it not?
It's on Collins.
I mean, it was bounced off of him, did it not?
Yeah.
So, but again, it goes back to the guy can't catch a break when it comes to these terrible turnovers.
Yep. 100%.
The most disastrous turnovers ever happened with Cade Klubnik.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but somehow they've got to get rid of that and figure that out. Again, we've got a ton more to talk about. That's why they give me 2 hours to talk about it. We're going to talk about some of the games of the week when we come back here on the Morgan Thomas Show.
Trucks cost less than travelers rest.
run pass ratio like that, 2-second consecutive games may win, but will be leading to a future of mediocrity.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the
Ramona, what's LA? Can you look up LA Knight's intro theme? LA Knight intro theme. Somebody on the text line was like, "You should play that." I don't know what his intro theme is, so I don't know if it's good or not. But I'm curious to hear it. I mean, unless you want me to just look it up on my phone.
No, I'm doing it. LA Knight.
Yeah, LA Knight. KNIGHT.
Welcome to LA entrance theme.
Yes. Is that it? Yeah.
You like that? You want me to play that?
Yeah, I want you to play that.
All right.
Years as a federal prosecutor with the U.S. Attorney's Office in South Carolina, and several years as a state prosecutor. I joined Ryan Beasley Law last year to practice law with Ryan and Mary Hunter. Our team works in courtrooms.
Don't let it go too long because I've never heard it and I don't know what's going to happen in it.
We work with clients in all areas of state and federal criminal defense, to include pre-arrest investigations, white-collar defense, as well as student conduct issues at colleges and universities. Our responsive and proactive approach in cases is at all times client-centric resolution of those. We look forward to the opportunity to work with you. Please give us a call at 864-679-7777 or find us online at ryanbeasleylaw.com.
In every case, for every client, in courtrooms across the state, Ryan Beasley Law, ryanbeasleylaw.com. Did you know that hot, dry weather can negatively impact your home's foundation? Because the soil